Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining what will be my first webinar. I'm Richard Swan. I'm Director of Technical Client Services at Picote Solutions. The first thing is a thank you for joining the call. The second thing is either at the top of your screen or the bottom, there will be a bar, and on there you'll see there's various buttons. One's called Q&A. If we're going through the presentation, if you want to ask a question, can you ask it through the Q&A? And then when we get to the end of the presentation, I'll open up the Q&As and we'll work through the any questions that have been asked. So, that's it. Sorry, I'm trying to move this slide on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I've introduced myself, I'm Richard Swan. I've been in the water industry now for over 30 years. I've worked both on the clean and the dirty side, been involved in research and development, been involved in contracting, and now I'm with Picote Solutions. So we're going to go through in the next 25 minutes the 5 traditional pipe cleaning methods. Then I'm going to cover off high-speed cleaning, and then give a few case studies where we've used high-speed cleaning to the advantage of the customer and client. So to begin with, why do we need to clean pipes? Well, the obvious one is we need to clean them to keep the flow running through correctly. And generally, if you're on the clean water side in drinking water, the biggest issues that you'll get is the buildup of depopulation within the cast iron water mains. On the sewage side, we get fats, oils and grease, we get tree roots, we get the bottom left-hand picture, as you look at your screen, that's an intruding 32mm waste pipe coming in from a kitchen into the main drainage pipe. So we get intruding connections. We'll also get a build-up of fats, oils and grease, but also the occasional reinforcement steel bar being knocked through, or fence post being knocked through the drain of the pipe. So the first way, which is probably one of the traditional ways of cleaning pipes, is what we call electromechanical. So this involves the operator using a mobile machine. It works on electricity, and inside the green drum there's a flexible steel cable, and on the end of that cable we have an attachment that takes different types of cutting equipment. Very easy to move around. When we're using this type of machine, you can work from upstream without causing any flooding issues. It's just purely electromechanical. The motor turns, rotates, turns the steel cable that the operator's holding, and you push it down the pipe, and we use it to break up blockages. It's very flexible, so it will go easily around any bends and traps. And because it's a mechanical device, there's no need to use any water. Hence why there's that low risk of creating the flooding, because we're not adding water into the situation. These machines, the cutting head rotates at somewhere between 200 to 500 RPM. Very slow, laborious, takes time to descale pipes. One of the things that you'll find is that on these machines, the operator actually has to hold the rotating flexible shaft in his hand. As you push it down the pipe and you're cutting through the blockage, whilst you're pushing the flexible shaft into the pipe, you're not always sure that you're actually cutting through the blockage, or the steel shaft is actually coiling up inside the pipe, and it gets to a stage where the potential energy in the coiled up shaft is greater than the energy of the engineer or the operator holding it. Therefore, it will suddenly start to uncoil itself, which means it generally ends up coiling around the operator's hand, wrist, or arm, and can create some injury. And I say the electromechanical machines have been around since the late 1950s, early 1960s, and there's several manufacturers out there. Things moved on, and then we've got what we call high pressure water jetting, and we've got a few pictures here courtesy of Dynarod. So high pressure water jetting obviously requires a pressurized unit, a motor, a pump. Most of them are either mounted in the back of 3.5 ton vans, what are called van packs, or on trailers, or we get to the bigger ones where you've got the combination units and jet vacs. Very quick and effective for breaking up blockages. When you start getting to the ultra high pressure machines, they can cut through steel, and in some cases you have systems where you entrain sand into the water to make it even better at cutting. You're very much reliant on the water to clear the blockage. So generally the jetting head is designed so it will propel itself up through the pipe, and then when you get to the far end, the operator then will slowly pull the jetting nozzle and the jetting hose back out the pipe. So you're actually cleaning the pipe when you're going back through the pipe instead of going up to the far end. Limitations: you require a good supply of water. So you have two options. One is to have a licensed standpipe and fill the water tank up at a licensed location, or connect into and take water from the customer's tap, normally an outside tap. If used incorrectly, this type of cleaning, you can actually cause the pipe to collapse. There's a WRC jetting code of practice for people to work to. If you keep, and you're not too sure what the condition of the pipe is, and you're there on an emergency job, you keep the pressure low, below 2000 psi. It's not suitable really for use within buildings, especially when you've got multi-story buildings, tower blocks, etc., because you can't actually get the pump and the vehicle anywhere near the place where you want to work to. With water jetting, you're actually adding water into the pipe. Therefore, if you've got an already flooded pipe, then you've got a risk there of actually causing an environmental issue and subsequent flooding. The operatives need to have undertaken a registered training course, which is normally done through the Water Jetting Association, and it's as a City and Guilds qualification or an MVQ. When we're looking at pressure pipes and water mains, process pipe work, then actually one of the popular methods still being used is what we call pigging. So on the right hand side we have the pigs. They're foam, they can be metal, polyurethane. They can be soft, they can be aggressive, and generally the design of the pig is, or selection of the pig is designed to suit the pipe that you are cleaning. You can the pigs are propelled through the existing pipe using either water or compressed oil or some kind of other fluid if you're working in a process plant work. You have a pressure drop over the pig, so the pressure behind the pig is greater than the pressure in front of the pig, and that helps. That's why it propels itself through the pipe. The pig will follow the route that the water is flowing. So I said that you can use compressed air as well. Depending on the pigs themselves, the different, like I said, different materials, different components. We have brushes to remove hard crust-like deposits. There's urethane blades that can be fitted on for removing soft gummy deposits. We have scraper discs and cups to clean hard and soft internal deposits. In some cases, you get bypass holes, which actually create some flow disturbance, which actually helps to clean the pipe that you're looking at. Limitations are that if you've got heavy tuberculation in the pipe, you'll have to do multiple runs, starting off with a small diameter pig, and then as you go through, send that through the pipe. The next pig to go through will be slightly bigger diameter and a bigger again, until you've removed all of the scale or cleaned the pipe fully. If you're using water, at the exit point, you will need to put in settling tanks so you can actually collect any debris that's coming through. That will settle to the bottom of the tank, and then clean the water, and then can be filtered off into normally a foul water pipe. One of the limitations, depending on the design and the amount of tuberculation in the pipe, is there is a risk whilst you're cleaning that the ferrules or the connections onto that pipe could become blocked. Obviously, when we're doing pigging, we have to, so water main, you're going to have to take the section of pipe out of circulation and put over pumping in while the cleaning's happening. Another one is drag scraping. This is one that involves the use of springs, scraper blades. You can see the two pictures at the bottom of the slide. If you can get a winch cable through, you put the cable through, and then you wrench different types of scrapers through the pipe, and that breaks up, removes the scale. Obviously, the scale then drops to the pipe invert. Once you've got all the scale, you can then remove, swap the drag scraping for some wire brush pigs, or actually pig the pipe with a combination of pig as well, just to remove any of the deposits. Collect them at the far end again. One of the issues here is that it's quite a violent process when you're pulling it through, when you're pulling these Christmas trees through the pipe, as we call them. So if you've got a lot of service connections, it's quite common for the scrapers to snag on the ferrules. The final one, when we're looking at water mains really and cleaning pipes, is what we call rack feed boring or power boring. There's a picture on the right hand side. It looks very similar to a directional drilling rig, but what it is, it's long steel rods, and what you've got is that they are pushed down through the pipe. So depending on how much tuberculation you've got, you'll have probably a spade or a drill head on the front, an arrowhead, and then behind that you'll have some flail arms that rotate. So as it rotates, and then you push it forward using the rack bore. Once the steel rod's fully down, it releases, the head comes back up and grabs the next rod, screw it on, and then you push it down. So it's like a mechanical version of rodding a pipe. Can be time consuming. I've been on job sites where to do some pipe rehabilitation on the water main, I've been on sites 2 or 3 days while they clean the water main, and then the lining system is very quick, but the cleaning side can be very time consuming, certainly for rack boring and drag scraping and pigging. So they're the traditional methods. The new one that's sort of we're going to talk about now is what we call high-speed cleaning, or high-speed cleaning machines. These are, again, like the traditional electromechanical machines. They are very portable. They generally have a built-in safety clutch. The steel shaft that rotates has a plastic outer casing on. So the operative, when using the machines, are holding the outer casing. They're not actually holding the shaft that's rotating. They work well around bends, depending on the type of machine. They are very, very flexible. They don't need to have any water. They can be used dry. You can use them on vertical and horizontal pipes. They are powered by electricity. So you need a power support, so we can either plug them into a power outlet, or you can run them off small generators. We call them high speed because they operate from the slow speed that the machines operate is 500 RPMs, whereas on the traditional electromechanical machines, their top speed is 500. And then depending on the model, that will go up to 2,900 RPM. And they work from DN32 to 300 diameter pipes. And there's various manufacturers out there now. Obviously, I work for Picote Solutions, and Picote initially developed the process, or these high-speed cleaning machines, back in 2008. We are a Finnish company, but in Finland we are a contractor, and as part of the contracting, we do all of our work within buildings. So last year, just to give you the size of the business, last year we installed over 12 miles of light cured in place pipes in buildings. To do that, we've had to develop a whole range of tools for cleaning the pipes and for doing reinstatements and lateral reinstatements, etc. So the first machines we developed in 2008 for our own contracting. We have a range of machines now that go from DN32 up to DN300, so that's 1.25 inch up to 12 inch. We have rotating speeds from 500 up to 2,900 RPM. Generally, with other manufacturers, each manufacturer has a different size diameter shaft. With ours, our small machines have an 8mm diameter shaft. Our medium machines have 12mm, and our largest machine has an 18mm or 3/4 inch shaft. It's a flexible shaft, especially designed to go around bends, and it's encased in a plastic outer casing. Depending on what you're doing, depends on which tools you connect to the machine. And the machine rotates, and then the operator feeds the shaft through the pipe to either clean and restore flow. Depending on the tools, they are great for unblocking pipes, descaling pipes, root cutting, removing fats, oil and grease, cutting out failed liners, which nobody ever really wants to do, but we have the tools to do it. Removing concrete and reinstating lateral connections after a cured in place pipe has been installed. So it's used for reinstating. There's a nice picture on the right. That's what our machines look like. We were the first to use high-speed cleaning machines. We developed them, and they are very portable. So this next little bit is a video clip that shows you what happens when you start descaling or cleaning a pipe using high speed, and you'll see when the cud starts to rotate, and it's rotating about 1200 RPM. When it comes into contact inside the pipe, it just obliterates everything, and you'll see how it turns the encrustation into dust. So this has got what we call the cyclone chain on there. It's fixed for the diameter of pipe, and you can see how much dust is coming off. Each machine has a remote control foot switch, so you can use both hands. And it just rotates around. So the speed that they go at, it shreds tree roots, it turns scale and encrustation into dust. And they are very powerful, but very simple and easy to use machines. So here's just a quick picture of a pre and post cleaning operation. It's a cast iron pipe, but we can use the tools in clay, concrete and PVC pipes. The beauty of having the outer casing that doesn't rotate means that we can actually fasten on or mount a CCTV camera behind the cleaning head. So you can actually, the operator can actually monitor the progress and see what he's doing. And then it's a process just going backwards and forwards. It's a very, very effective cleaning method. So, as I said, there's various manufacturers around, and there's various types of chains and systems that manufacturers use. Generally, with Picote, we have 4 types of chain. Starting at the right and moving left, we've got PVC, so that's just a stainless steel chain. We call it PVC because any of our tools that we have PVC in their title means that they are safe to use on fragile, and that's structural grade 3, 4 and 5 clay pipes and plastic pipes. So they will clean, but they won't cause any damage. We then have the standard chain that has 3, it's a carbide that sits on the chain, it's got 3 teeth, and that removes any hard scale or deposits in the pipe. Then we have our premium chain. It just has 7 carbides, but it's got 7 cutting edges on there. And this is for the removing really, really hard deposits in pipe, and that's real heavy corrosion. Can take out grout and concrete as long as the pipe's not full, and it can also take out failed liners as well if it's an emergency. So on top of that, so those chains are available for our 8 and 12 millimeter machines, and then for the Power Plus, which is the machine we have, which has got an 18 millimeter shaft, you would either use the premium chains or the tornado chains. We've also got then types of chain. So the cyclone chain is fixed, has a fixed internal diameter. So with the torque and the speed, and the centrifugal forces that are created by high-speed cleaning, that will open out like a parachute, and it will come into contact with the pipe wall, and it will move any debris, etc. there. We then have the original chains, and the original chains, you can change the diameter by moving the front and the end caps together. These are normally used to open up. So if you've got a pipe that's full of tree roots, or you've got encrustation, then you'll start up and with the original chain, and then move the back head to the back connector to the front to make it slightly bigger. So you go through various passes and open it up. One of the new tools that we launched at the end of last year is what we call our 3D chain. So that's like an original chain, but we have a spring between the front and the back, and the front head, the front connector will slide up and down the steel rod depending on how fast you're going. So at slow speeds, it will, for example, we've got a 3 to 4 inch pipe. At slow speeds, it will clean the 3 inch pipe. As you increase the speed, the chains will open out up to the 4 inch diameter. So very effective and very quick, and you don't have any automatic change adjust for the diameter. Okay, so we get to the specialist tools for we'll start to move at the 18 millimeter shaft, which our machine's called a Power Plus. So we have a range of specialist tools. We have what we call concrete remover tools for removing concrete. So if you've got a pipe that has got either 10% or 100% of concrete in there, then we can cut it out using the concrete removal tool. We also have tools for descaling. So we've got the chains, and we've got the smart spiders, we call it, which we've got some examples, some case studies coming up involving the smart spider. We have specialist tools for reinstating or milling out collapsed liners and removing. So for the collapsed liners, if it's a fully collapsed liner, then we have a flat drill head, or a crusher head as we call it. And where we've got partially collapsed liners, then we have a drill front, a pointed drill head. And you can also have what we call the sweeper behind either the flat or the front drill head. So you'll cut through the liner. Anything that's left on the pipe wall that's left, the sweepers will then as they're rotating around, will remove any excess resin or liner off the pipe wall. The sweepers are also great for removing wrinkles if you've had an issue with the liner and you've got wrinkles in the liner. The sweepers will just take out the wrinkles. So a little clip here. This is a job we were doing, or we worked on for a client, where they were looking to remove wax from removing hard wax deposit from inside the pipe. So as you can see here, we've got the sweeper with the front drill head on. And you can see this is with the Power Plus, and you can see that as we're pushing it through, and we just put a pressure on there, it's actually cutting through, and the wax is coming out in little chips. But this was on a 6-inch one, and yeah, we did the test work for the contract. You can see here the size of the little pellets it was cutting it into. So if you're so unfortunate to have what we call a failed liner, then we've got tools, etc., that are used for that. Generally, we use a combination of drill heads and the Power Plus. Here's a good example of the machine being used to cut out a failed liner. You can see here how it's chipping away at the liner, cut into little bits. Generally, depending on the type of liner, we can remove between 3 to 5 meters in a session, an hour. For the 12mm shaft, we have some specialist tools. We've got all the chains, etc., but we've also got what we call the twist or metal grinder. Great for where you've got reef-4 bars or steel posts that have been knocked accidentally through the pipe. We can cut it out. It takes the middle section out with the twister grinder, and then we have the smart cutter with the grinding panels on to grind back the bits that are left. We've got twister cleaners for plastic pipes. These are great for taking out inconsistencies inside pitch fibre pipes before you put a cured in place pipe through them. And for 100 and 150, we've also got concrete removers for the 100 and 150 pipes. Here's a good example of what we can do with the chains. This is a section of pipe that was moved from a process plant. It was heavily full of silicate deposits. This was brought to us by one of the jetting manufacturers. They'd been out and they tried all types of pressure ratings, and they couldn't make an impact on the deposits. Here you've got a video. We're just using what we call our Super MIDI and our premium chains. And you can see as soon as the chain comes in, it's actually turning this into dust. So again, very powerful. We can achieve this because the speeds of height, this is down to the rotation speeds you can achieve with the high-speed milling machines. Smart Spider is great. We do it for 3 sizes, 4 sizes. It's great for descaling pipes that are in very poor condition or the section of the pipe's missing. Little video here. Now, in normal life, this would be buried. You would struggle to get a jetty machine through here. You'd struggle to get a CCTV camera through there. So you need to be able to camera it so you could select the repair method. The beauty about our machine, we've got the legs on there, goes through. You can see the outer casing behind. If you put your CCTV camera and tape it onto the back of that, you can actually go through, you can descale the pipe, you can clean the pipe, and you can also do a full camera survey. So we have contractors who just use the Spider to get cameras through sections where you can't get cameras or jetty machines through. But as everything, contractors are very resourceful, and we've now found that contractors now are starting to use the Spider for removing fats, oil and grease from pipes. So here's a good example. It's courtesy of West Sussex Drains. This pipe's full of, well, half full of fogs. Here's the Spider in action. And now those little legs index in and out, and what they do is they chip away at the fat, break it into very small particles, which you can then flush out of the pipe. So this is the first pass through, and it started doing it. Now they've just stopped it and they put the camera down. So it's taken probably 90% off on the first pass. So just that little bit extra at the end, and again, they're just going through and they'll just finish it off. As you can see, they've got the camera down there. They're not worried about damaging the camera because the rotating shafts are encased in the outer casing. But as you can see here, it's made light work of the fog in the pipe. We don't just do, these machines are not just used for sewers. We've started now using them for cleaning water mains, pipe to pipe rehabilitation. So here's a good example. It was a 3-inch diameter water main. Utility contractor took the job on. It was a 3-inch pipe. It was choked with tuberculation in some parts up to 95%. They needed to clean the pipe in order to slip line it with a PE pipe. The contractor was going to use their own cleaning process. However, what they did find was that they couldn't make any progress because of the small diameter of the pipe and also the amount of tuberculation in there. So they approached us to see whether or not we could use one of our machines. So we went out, in the bottom photograph, you can see that we went out with what we call our Super MIDI. Very easy to get it on site. There's a little generator behind. It only uses it needs a 110 volt, 16 amp power supply, so we can run it off a generator. And what we've done is the tool we used behind was what we call a combination of our PVC original chains with a drill head on. So the drill head cut into the tuberculation to make space for the chains to start descaling. The chains, as they were spinning, centralized the cutting head in the pipe. The big problem here was that there was difficult access. It was on built-up ground. We've got multiple services. So there was gas pipes, fibre optics, and the electric cables, all crossing in and running adjacent to the water main. Therefore, they couldn't excavate, and they were unable to use pipe bursting. Not only that, the run was about 180 metres, and it actually ran under a motorway. So it included, they had to do dug 4 excavation pits, so we could work from there. We successfully, with the Super MIDI and the chains, we successfully cleaned 180 metres of the cast iron pipe in 8 hours. That also included us training the operatives how to use the machine. Previously mentioned, we've used the PVC original chains, special drill head, and we were able to clean in 30-metre sections. The contractor then commented that his 26-ton specialist vehicle couldn't achieve what a machine that fits into the rear of an estate car could do. I think that really peeved them off, that our machine was small enough to fit in the back of an estate car. But again, it shows you how versatile the machines are when you start using high-speed cutting. Here's a good example, mass tree roots in a DM100 pipe. And again, we used the premium original chains with the tough carbide teeth on there and the front drill head. And again, it's just shredded the tree roots into very small pieces that we just pulled out and put into a bucket. I've mentioned the smart cutter. Here's a good example, and we use the smart cutter, can use for numerous things depending on the combination of it. So you can use it for opening lateral reinstatements, descaling pipes, cutting out tree roots. It's a very versatile cutter, right? And the power of it is that we were asked by a company that do a lot of steel fabrication. And one of the problems is when you weld the steel pipes, you've got that internal bead. And when that internal bead is on a bend, it's very hard to remove. So they approached us, and they then brought the smart cutter, just purely, as you can see here, as it's rotating, the grinding panels come out, and very aggressive. And like I said, you can see on the photographs on the right hand side that it ground away the complete weld on the inside to make the pipe smooth. So you can grind lots of materials away. We can take out liners with this. We can cut through lateral reinstatements, etc., tree roots, and descaling pipes. So quick summary really, well, the table here. So what we've looked at is the cleaning method, and you look at the power type. So with pigging, if you're going to use water, then you use the flow of the water from the water main. If you're going to use compressed air, then you're going to have a diesel compressor. Dragscaping involves a winch, rack balling, requires power as well. Water jetting van packs, well, they're available diesel, but we're now moving away from diesel. So you've got petrol, and Rearnid have also got a battery powered jetting machine as well. The electromechanical machines use electric or generator, and a few of the manufacturers on the smaller machines now have battery operated machines. When you look at high speed, generally the high speed machines are either plug into the power supply or you run it off a generator. We don't, optional use with electromechanical, it's optional to use water. I say they are in some parts of some countries now, they're sold as waterless cleaning methods. Your normal rack feeding boards rotate less than 500 RPM, your electromechanical traditional under 300 RPM. And I say the high speed run between 500 to 2,900. So when you start getting up to those speeds, they just obliterate everything in the path, but they do not damage the pipes. Again, I think the limiting thing really with the currently with the high speed is that we're limited to probably lengths of up to 45 meters, which is 90 meters between two access points if you work both ways. Cleaning method, the table below explains what method you can use for cleaning, what's suitable for descaling, root cutting, removing fats, oil and grease, concrete, lateral reinstatements and failed liners. And you'll see there that the high speed, because the speeds that we operate at, you can do great for descaling, good for cleaning, unblocking, excellent at root cutting. You can remove fats, oil and grease. You can take out concrete with it. You can use it for doing lateral reinstatements. And if you're so unfortunate, we can use it to take out failed liners. So it really has opened up new opportunities that the traditional machines haven't, or methods haven't been able to do. We've got, just a little plug here for Picote. We have e-learning, a whole range of e-learning and videos and training programs, etc., that you can look and get information on. That it's a free subscription, just log on to www.picoteinstitute.com, and there's a wealth of information on there to help you select and different cleaning methods, or looking at high speed if you don't appreciate how quick and what we can do with it. So at that stage, I've been rambling on now for about 40 minutes. I hope you found it useful. I think, Lynn, if we can open up to the questions. Well, I've got a question here. I don't know who's finding just one question. Do you make any cleaning tools for robotic crawlers or jetters? We don't do anything currently for jetters. We have created and developed a range of chains and spiders and smart cutter to work with the Swan robots, but they had to modify their robotic systems to work with in combination with our tools. But yes, you can put tools onto the Swan robot. So we do manufacture tools for them. Okay, and yes, thank you for the bit about the presentation. Thank you. I hope you've all enjoyed it. There will be this whole presentation webinar has been recorded by UKSTT, so it will be available on their website. And I'm sure Lynn will send out further information to people that have logged on. What is the newest, most exciting Picote tool to be released? Well, we've got two really. I think for tool wise, the best one was the 3D chains, because they automatically increase in diameter the faster they operate. And the second one was we launched at the wet show a few weeks ago, is that the mini miller and the mini cleaner machines now come combined with a CCTV camera system. So you can buy the mini cleaner C+ and the mini miller C+. So it's great. The CCTV camera coil fits inside the drum of the machine. So as an operator, you can hold both the miller shaft and the CCTV camera and push them into the pipe at the same time. Best way to attack a grease stoppage is really with the smart spider. What we do recommend with the smart spider is that even though the machine goes up to 1500 RPM, we normally operate around about 1000 RPM. Slow rotation for our machines, still a lot faster than traditional ones, but the legs index in and out, and they chip away at the grease stoppage. If you go too fast, then all that happens is the legs don't index out because it's rotating too quickly. So it does, it builds up a whole load of heat, and it just melts, and it'll just slice through the fat on the pipe and not remove it. More questions coming in. That's what I like to hear. Grease stoppages. We have issues with 100% rag blockages on 4 and 6-inch pipes. We want an access point upstream. When clearing using high pressure water treatment, there's a risk of getting nozzle stuck in the underlying defect. Yes, it does stop you getting, if you use a combination of a drill head and the chains, the original chains keeps it centralized in the pipe, the drill head goes through. The feedback we get from people when they're clearing soft blockages with rags and wipes in there is that traditional machines, the rags will start wrapping around the cutting head to such a point that you can't pull the cutting head back out the pipe. What we find is, because all our machines have safety clutches in, that when you get too much there, before it gets blocked and wedged into the pipe, the machine will, the safety clutch will activate, the head starts turning, and then you can just pull back and then start again, or pull back and come all the way out and take any wipes that have wrapped around it, you can take off and go back in. So sometimes you can cut straight through them and the chains will break it up. Other times you'll pull them back out with the drill head on. I hope, James, that answers your question there. Trying to see if I've got any more questions on here. No, I think I've answered all of the questions. Right. Have we got a smart spider smaller than 4-inch 100? Currently, no. What we've actually got below that is what we call we do a smart sweeper, a mini sweeper. We have one available for 50mm pipe and 70mm pipe. So it has the legs on there, but the legs aren't wire ones. The legs are hinged and they fly out. But does a similar thing to the spider. If you fail to see a crack in the pipe on the inspection, will you not risk a lot of damage because of the high RPM? No. We have a range of quick guides for helping people select the right tool and cutter for the right job. So if you've got cracks and fractures in a clay pipe, then generally you would use the cyclone chains and use the PVC cyclone chain. So it doesn't actually create any damage, and it cleans the pipe. But if you go onto the Institute and click on the resources page, click on quick guides, and there's I think we've got 17 quick guides now relating to different machines and different types of blockage clearance and structural damage, structural issues regarding pipes are in there as well. Yes, the smart sweeper, when used in cast iron and clay pipes, then it won't create any further issues. If you use a smart sweeper in a plastic pipe, then you have to remember to don't hold it in place stationary, keep it moving backwards and forwards. If you hold it stationary in a plastic pipe, the legs will actually cut through the pipe if you're not careful. Okay, if the miller's left out and he's asking for a friend, so the miller's left out in the rain all winter, how do we get it running again? If the machine's been left out, you need to make sure that it's dried off. We always say if the machine hasn't been used for two to 3 months, what you need to do is remove the shaft and lubricate the shaft. We have a special lubricant. It's a medical grade oil, so it's environmentally friendly. You can buy it from our resellers. We have instructions. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on which machine, to lubricate the shaft. So if the machine has been standing for a long period, then generally, yes, we'd say lubricate the shaft and make sure that it's all dried out, and then it'd be fine. Right, we've got one now. Are we looking to bring out a smaller machine than the mini cleaner? Watch this space, is that one? We're always developing stuff. I say we're a contractor at heart, and we're probably the only machine manufacturer that I know of that actually has a contracting arm as part of the business. So they help us develop a lot of new products. Can you put the mini miller cable on the mini cleaner? No, for the simple fact is the mini cleaner has a different safety clutch to the mini miller. So it's the two separate machines because of that. Yes, you can use the sweeper in cast iron pipe, and that's from Steve. There's no problems. In fact, with the sweeper, you can actually pinpoint where to turn on the rotation. So with the sweeper on, you can push the shaft all the way down and stop at individual joints and remove any scale or any ingress or roots at that point. So with the sweepers, they're great because you can actually pinpoint when you want to use them. So one last thing, our point is to have running water when using any of the millers. Our equipment is designed to run without using water. If you're running without water, yes, the shaft will heat up. What we recommend is that to operate our machines at maximum torque and speed, you want to remove as much of the shaft off the drum before you start using them. That reduces any friction in the drum and gives you a longer working time. Generally, if you've been using the machine continuously for 30 minutes, we would recommend that you take a a 5-minute or 10-minute break, bring the shaft back out the pipe. The tool at that stage will be very hot, so just put the tool and the end of the shaft into a bucket of water. Give it 5 minutes to cool down. But before you put the shaft back in to the pipe to start cleaning again, just check that all the grub screws are secure and tight, holding the tool on. If at any stage the tools fall off, then we have a great product called the Picote Grabber. Works on compressed air, and that's great for retrieving rods, tools from within a pipe. We have the large grabber that works in a 6-inch pipe and above, and that's great for removing house bricks and heavy objects. I'll just check if there's any more. Shaft lubing intervals. Yes, the shaft needs to be, generally, if you're using the machine heavy usage, so we're saying you're using it, every day you're using that machine, then once a month, and once every 2 months, you need to remove the shaft and lubricate it. If the machine's been stationary for several months, again, take the shaft off and lubricate it. There's instructions on the Institute on the easiest and the quickest way to undertake to lube the shaft up. But again, like I said, normally we recommend every 2 to 3 months, depending on usage. We also recommend that once a week you take the handguard off the back of the machine, and then just check that the connection into the gearbox, there's normally 2 or 4 grub screws there. Just make sure they're tight. I think I've got everybody's questions. That's gone there. Suggested RPM for the sweeper. We normally run, the sweeper you want to run, sweepers, you run probably 50 to 60% speed of the machine. I think I've answered all of the questions. I'm just double checking now. I've got some more coming in. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Just bear me a second. Yes, I think that's all of the questions done. Thank you for everybody for taking an active interest in the presentation. It's been brilliant. It actually makes it worthwhile when everybody gets involved. So thank you very much. And I really appreciate you attending. I think that's me over and out now. Thank you very much.